Now we're going to be looking at domain and range again. This time we're looking at it in a slightly different way, looking at the graph of the function as opposed to the equation for the function. So on this one, when we're looking for the domain of the graph, what we want to look for is where is the graph defined, or for what x values is there a graph attached to it, so to speak. So because there aren't any arrows on this graph, it is starting here at -4, so the domain would be -4 is less than or equal to x, because we do have a point there. And then the graph goes through all of these x values until here it stops at 5. And it is defined at 5, so we would have less than or equal to 5. The range is the y values. So it's a little bit more challenging to look. You can't draw the smooth curve and figure out the y values. So you find the lowest y value on the graph. So in this case, that is -4. And then the highest y value on the graph is about 2.5. So we're going to estimate that one. So y goes from -4 to 2.5 is the range of this function. This graph does have arrows, so it continues going in both the left and the right direction. So if we think about the graph continuing forever towards -infinity off to this side, and it also is continuing forever off to +infinity, the domain for this function is all real numbers. There aren't any holes in the graph. If you think about placing a vertical line from the left and moving it towards the right, it would always hit a point on the graph. So there aren't any x values or domain restrictions on this one. The range, however, thinking about putting a horizontal line through the graph, it wouldn't hit the graph below this point. It only hits the graph above the y-intercept. So our range is y is greater than or equal to 3. That's kind of where our function starts, and it goes up from there, thinking about the range. So again, I want to repeat what I said. When you're looking at a graph, think about putting a vertical line through the graph from left to right. Wherever that vertical line would hit the graph is where the domain is defined. So if we jump back to this one real quickly, all of these vertical lines over here and all of these vertical lines off to the right wouldn't hit the graph, so that's outside the domain of the function. To figure out the range of the function, think about taking a horizontal line and moving it up the graph. Again, on this one, this horizontal line does not hit the graph. Once you move it up to here is where it starts to hit the graph, and it stops hitting the graph here, so that gives you the range of your function.